What is up, my friends? Welcome back to the channel as we move a little bit closer towards summer 2025. Some might say it's already here. But as we move closer, I'm looking at this movie schedule and it's getting me really excited. Honestly, I took a look at the movies that are coming out and then I thought about recent years. Just in my memory, like some of the best summers that we've had movie-wise, right? We had the Barbenheimer situation, but the one that comes to mind is 2019. Listen to this. 2019 had Avengers Endgame, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, John Wick Chapter 3, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Spider-Man Far From Home, Toy Story 4, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, and oh my gosh, I've gone cross-eyed. And you might hate some of those movies, maybe they weren't your forte, but the point is, we're moving into a summer that I think competes with this for the first time in a long time, and there honestly are so many movies coming out. I thought it'd be a fun idea to give my top 5 most anticipated for summer 2025. Now, there are some honorable mentions here, because technically May could be considered summer. For me, it's very much June, July, and August, those 3 months, but Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is one of my most anticipated films of the entire year. Honestly, by the time that I release this video, I may have already seen it because screenings are starting. My screening is next week. I cannot wait to watch it, but I am omitting that from this list, as well as like Lilo and Stitch towards the end of this month. There is Bring Her Back, a great horror movie that I'm looking forward to, but I'm very much focusing on June, July, and August, and so I'm going to start from 5 and work my way up to 1, my number 1 most anticipated, and here we go. So starting with number 5, I'm looking forward to Jurassic World Rebirth. The main reason I'm looking forward to this movie is because it seems like they're kind of turning a page. They're going in a bit of a different direction. We had the Jurassic World trilogy. It was a little bit of fun. I mean, honestly, I have like individual opinions on each individual movie of the Jurassic World trilogy, and so as much fun as it was watching those movies, seeing that they're coming out with a new one and it is steering more in the horror direction. You have new actors, you have Scarlett Johansson, you have Mahershala Ali. I haven't heard many negatives about this film. It doesn't seem like it had a production situation where everything's all messed up and they're rushing to get this thing out. Honestly, this movie kind of came out of nowhere, and it seems like they nailed down a great concept for a very fun story. Apparently, they're including some key moments from the novels that like people have been really wanting to see on screen, and so I'm excited for it. There's really only one hang-up, and that is it is also taking inspiration from Jurassic World in the sense that apparently they're on an island with all of these like experimental dinosaurs and like the experiments that have gone wrong, and so they're more like monsters and like rancors from Star Wars, like that kind of thing. And as much fun as that is, as a Jurassic Park fan, I miss the horror that the T-Rex gave us just in the very first Jurassic Park. Like, I'm all about T-Rex and Velociraptors, so hopefully we get a little bit of that somehow in this movie. But aside from that, watching a new Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movie on the big screen, it's always going to be a good time. It's always going to be exciting heading in. But moving on to number 4, I'm putting I Know What You Did Last Summer. And this is another one of those horror franchises, very much like a Nightmare on Elm Street, that I've just been dying for a reboot of, because I Know What You Did Last Summer was one of my favorite horror movies growing up. The first one and the second one, for some reason, those were the first like horror movies that I ever really got into. We went and we rented I Know What You Did Last Summer. I was really, really young, probably way too young for a lot of people's standards to be watching horror movies, but I absolutely loved it, and I've been fascinated by it ever since. And then watching all of these other horror franchises have their reboots and have their moment in the spotlight, I've just been hoping that we get to see The Fisherman. I've been hoping that maybe they have Jennifer Love Hewitt return or Freddie Prinze Jr., and now we're actually getting that. And so it's really exciting. The trailer looks freaking amazing. It clearly looks like they're going all out for it. They're ramping up the gore, they're ramping up the suspense, and I don't know, I'm excited. And maybe if it does well, we're gonna get multiple I Know What You Did Last Summers. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer 2, I don't know. But whatever ends up happening, it's just gonna be a good time going to the theater and seeing an I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. But moving on to number 3, this would not have been in my top 5 had there not just been a new trailer that dropped that was fantastic. This is F1. My wife and I, purely because of the Netflix show Drive to Survive, we've gotten really into F1. We now even do like the monthly pass thing where you watch watch every single race, and we're like involved in it. We're Mercedes fans. We're like getting into it. Actually, we're kind of deciding between Ferrari and Mercedes. I don't know if that's like sacrilegious for F1 fans out there, but a brand new trailer came out. And look, guys, this is directed by the guy that directed Top Gun Maverick and Oblivion, even, Tron Legacy, for anybody that freaking still watches that movie. The guy has a great eye for detail. There's some CGI things in Tron Legacy. There's like nitpicks here and there, but Top Gun Maverick was one of those theater experiences that I'll remember for the rest of my life. I was so blown away that I had to go again, and even watching it in your living room is freaking amazing. It's just an awesome movie. And so seeing that they're kind of doing that, but with F1 and putting you in the driver's seat and giving you a theatrical experience where you're racing with all these people. Also, they're including Max Verstappen, all of these other drivers that are within F1, you know what I mean, to make it feel real. It's awesome. I think he's driving for Mercedes in the movie. Javier Bardem is playing the team principal. And I don't know, honestly, again, the first trailer that came out, I saw it and I was like, dang it, I don't know if that's going to resonate with me. I don't know if that's going to connect. But this second trailer that came out, it really landed for me, and I can't freaking wait for this theatrical experience specifically. I really don't know if it's going to hold up against Top Gun Maverick and be one of those movies that you can watch at home, but I do think that this movie is going to end up doing big numbers because there are a lot of F1 fans out there, especially worldwide. So like domestically, here in the States, who knows how it's going to do, because I don't know how people feel about F1 over here, but I think worldwide this is probably going to do some big numbers, assuming that it is just a crazy experience and they put the camera in the driver's seat and you're just like along for the ride. It sounds like a lot of fun. But moving on to number 2, this is another movie kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer, but something that I've just been dying to see a well-done reboot of, because I grew up with the original Fantastic Four movies. I shouldn't say original. There was other Fantastic Four renditions before my time, but the Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, Jessica Alba, Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, those Fantastic Four movies, I watched those growing up. I enjoyed those growing up, and then we got the Fan-Four-tastic or whatever, the Miles Teller one, and it was a letdown. It really was a disappointment in a time where we were getting a lot of great comic book movies. You see that whoever the studio was, I kind of forget, whoever had the rights to Fantastic Four, they put out their own rendition of Fantastic Four, and it kind of sucked, and you're just like, man, I wish that freaking Marvel and Disney, I wish that they had the rights to Fantastic Four, because maybe they could do it right. Then we started heading in this direction. Then the cast came out. We saw Joseph Quinn, we saw freaking Pedro Pascal, and then we got our first look at the trailer. There's so much hype kind of happening with the MCU again. It's exciting, and this is the movie that I feel like is about to really pop things off, because it looks like it's really, really well done. The trailer was fantastic. Galactus is an amazing villain to have at the center of this story. You also have Silver Surfer coming in, but you're also introducing Marvel's first family in a way that kind of puts Sue Storm at the front of things, even potentially Franklin Richards. There's a lot of different things you can do with these stories. It doesn't just have to be inner city, we're battling these villains and blah, blah, blah. I feel like there's going to be a lot of emotion that really resonates with audiences, and that's going to carry over into Doomsday, where now we're super connected to these characters, and they're kind of going to hold it down in these Avengers films, because Phase 5 and 6, it's been a little bit all over the place, and I feel like one of the things that has been missing from the MCU, especially after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, is just an anchor, no pun, anchor being, but just an anchor holding down the MCU. Some characters that you can really trust in, and I think the Fantastic Four is about to be that. I also love Matt Shakman as a director. Say what you want about WandaVision, it's one of my favorite Disney Plus series that they've put out so far. He's also director of Game of Thrones. He has a great pedigree, and I think what they've done, what I've heard about behind the scenes with the practical sets, as well as even using like stop motion animation and stuff like that for Galactus, it's just really exciting. So Fantastic Four, the first steps, here we come. I can't wait till it arrives, but there can only be one movie that I am anticipating the absolute most. I have been anticipating this so freaking much since it was first announced. Superman, my friends, look up James Gunn. Superman is almost here, and a new trailer just dropped. I don't know if you've seen my reaction. The trailer is spectacular. It shows us a lot of really cool things. It shows us the vision that James Gunn has had. And I think purely, I mean, at least for me, James Gunn is a filmmaker that I can trust. The Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy alone is so spectacular. What he managed to pull off in Volume 3 and kind of the culmination event for those Guardians of the Galaxy characters, I think it is the resume that everybody needed. You know what I mean? It is proof alone that he can handle something of this magnitude, and he can really hit a home run. And so seeing the marketing so far, seeing how excited they are, and also seeing the roadmap of the DCU and what they've already done with Creature Commandos, which I loved, and then watching that new Peacemaker trailer that came out, looking at Lanterns and the production and seeing how that's going, I just don't see a world in which this movie isn't an absolute home run. I don't. David Cornsweet looks amazing. Like Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, it just looks like, so far, all the marketing, the trailers, everything that we've seen, it looks like a comic book page flipped and put onto screen. And this is a guy in James Gunn that cares so much about this property, and he didn't want to do it until he kind of cracked the code, until he found a story to tell. And clearly, I think he has. There's a lot of people that might be concerned about, it might be too many villains in the movie or too many heroes. I have a lot of trust in James Gunn. I don't want to sound like I'm just over the moon about it, but truly, I kind of am. Everything we've seen so far, it's a lot as a fan to even take in and even like comprehend the fact that we're getting a new Superman film after growing up with so many different renditions of Superman and after going through the whole DCEU and the Snyderverse and all of that stuff. But here we are. We're going to be getting Superman, and then we're going to be moving into a new era, the DCU. So I really hope for this movie's success. I hope that the movie is fantastic. Again, I just don't really see a world in which it's not, and I don't really see a world in which it's not going to make a bunch of money. People love Superman, and the world needs Superman right now more than ever, and so very much looking forward to that movie, very much looking forward to all of these movies. There's also so many other movies coming out this summer, and that's why when I took a look back at 2019 and I looked at that docket, I looked at the schedule for all the months coming up in 2019, I was like, wow, that was awesome. But how lucky are we to be living through 2025 right now and getting these movies? All of the waiting was worth it. The pandemic, the writer's strike, everything getting pushed back, it feels like all of that was worth it to be here now. And so I've probably said excited like a zillion times in this video, but I am excited. But please go down to the comments section, let me know your thoughts. What movies are you most anticipating? It might not be on my list of 5, it might be your list of 5. I would love to hear it. I want to just kind of hype up this movie season as we enter into it, because it's about to get crazy. I got screening notifications coming in. I have so many movies to see, and I can't wait to share my reaction with all of you. So be sure to keep checking into my channel. I'll be sharing first reactions, reviews, you name it. Also, my friends, make sure to hit like on this video, hit subscribe if you haven't already, but more than anything, make sure to keep up the good vibes. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!